4, 3, 2, 1.
It was good.
Like, I have a tattoo for a reason, right? It says, sometimes we're tested not to show our weaknesses, but to discover our strengths.
And why did you put it here?
Because through all the melanomas I had, which that's why I got a black ribbon tattooed, and it symbolizes no matter the struggle I go through, I just have the strength to push through, you know? No matter what I go through, I gotta have the power and the positivity to just go about my day every day. So I just gotta keep a positive mindset, because if you have a negative mindset, you're gonna think everything bothers you and you're gonna be depressed.
What were you singing? Our daughter Katie was first diagnosed with a very rare sun-sensitive condition, Xerodermia pigmentosum, back in 1994. And we realized that we didn't want her to spend the rest of her life alone, and we knew there had to be other families out there that were going through the same experience we were, and somehow families were managing to make it. So we needed to know who we could talk to, what kind of resources, what the scientists were working on. We wanted a cure. We wanted to find other families to figure everything out, how to live our lives. And we said, okay, we're gonna do a camp. It'll be a different camp because these kids can only go out and play at night, but it'll be a camp to bring the families together and learn about how to live.
Chocolate and cookies.
Hi.
Yum, chocolate and cookies. Hi.
Hi, Tara. How are you?
Good.
Your mom said she had lots of pictures.
I did.
You got pictures?
I don't know where it is.
Well, congratulations. Let me show you your room. Hi, I'm Karen.
Emily.
Nice to meet you.
XP is called, dermatologist called Xeroderma pigmentosum. And Xeroderma means dry skin, and pigmentosum means pigmented skin. So it's dry, pigmented skin.
The way XP works is that there's 8 different subtypes of XP. There's XPA, XPB, XPC, all the way to XPG. There's also an XP variant. Each one of those cases, like Katie's an XPC, means what type of enzyme is missing from their DNA. She's missing the XPC enzyme from her DNA. It also indicates what level her body repairs at, where I might repair at a 98% rate. If I get sunburned, I heal quickly. She repairs at a 2% rate. She doesn't heal. It becomes permanent damage, and with XP kids, that damage becomes dead skin matter, dead cell matter that then turns to cancers.
Unfortunately, sometimes these cancers can spread and can kill the patients. And the cancers are beginning much early in life. There's an average age of less than 10 years of onset for the first skin cancer.
When I was growing up, when I was younger anyway, it was really hard for me to understand why my siblings, my older siblings I have, were able to go outside and I had to stay in. It's very hard for me to understand that.
So in this picture, she was 4. This was our first camp, and she was able to see and hear and be very mobile, ride a bike just like any other kid. Here she is at 4, just a happy little kid, next to another camper who's 4. Now she's lost her hearing. She has a lot of eyesight issues, a lot of immune issues. She struggles with a thyroid problem, which increases her weight and gives her trouble walking, causes her pain in her legs and backaches.
Is it all XP?
It's the neurological aspects of XP.
Remember, this is due to a DNA damage repair pathway. So all you have to say is there's some kind of DNA damage of the type, which is basically a large bulky lesion in DNA, that would be repaired by that repair pathway, and that it arises in some way that can happen in your brain, but having nothing to do with ultraviolet light. But the same people who can't repair ultraviolet light damage would not be able to repair that. What that damage is, nobody knows, and people have been looking for 40 years.
Most of the patients who have that founder mutation in Japan have a form of severe neurologic degeneration. They're sensitive to the sun, but then they have problems with walking and talking and hearing, and eventually may die from the inability to swallow or to eat food properly.
Does it affect the thinking or no?
Well, it does, eventually. We have done studies of we can do x-rays of scans of the brains of the patients, and the brains are actually shrinking inside their heads. The skull gets thicker and the brains get smaller.
You're so tall. You're so tall, Olivia. Look at you go. Oh my goodness, Olivia. You did it. Let's go back.
I was like in 3rd grade when I was bullied, and people made fun of me because I had to wear my son protective clothing, you know. I just imagined myself as a Power Ranger because the visor looked like a Power Ranger, the way I dressed looked like a Power Ranger, you know. So I just took it as a positive thought, you know. I had power, you know.
How did they call you? What did they say?
Oh, they call me Polka Dots, Dalmatian. If you step out in the sun, you're gonna melt, you know?
In school, all the time, they're like, Shannon, like, where do you go during the summer? And I'm like, actually, I go to a place called Camp Sundown. And they're like, what's that? And I'm like, oh, it's a camp for people that can't go out in the sun. And they're like, so vampire camp? And I'm like, no. I'm like, they're not vampires, they just can't go in the sun.
It's open!
Yeah, the back is open.
You ready?
Obviously, you're sweet.
Dan's still in the bus.
Is this your seat?
Yeah, right in there.
This is like a safe house, I guess. They don't have to talk about what they go through with us because we understand. And I think that's like the main point of camp is like, we're here to keep you safe, but at the same time, we understand what you're going through. So you don't have to tell us your story because we understand, so just have fun.
Yo, you know what I said? You know what I said? That thing looked like the headquarters of Power Rangers. Yo, hold on.
Okay.
Doesn't that look like it? The Power Ranger headquarters?
We're at the New York State Museum with our campers, and we're here to see just the exhibits of New York State. Natural history, animals of the past and future, Indian records and things. The museum normally closes at 5 every night, but we're able to be here tonight because volunteers from the museum have come back late at night to open the doors for us and let us come in at 10.
Beep, beep. Beep, beep. I know, that's why I wanted to take a picture of it. Yeah, the whale's open.
I live in Queens, New York. I don't come every year, but I started coming here when I was 2 years old, so I basically grew up here. I've been coming with my older brother, Chris. With my older brother having XP, it's hard. You know, he doesn't really go outside during the day. It's hard to like hang out with people during the nighttime because either people have school or work. So, you know, he's either inside all the time or, you know, we just go up for walks. So when he comes here, it's just, he's able to do whatever he wants to do, you know, and it's just, he has something to do. He's occupied and he has friends.
Gives it a little something extra, right?
Yeah.
So now we're
on, Chris. Come on, Chris. Will it actually work? And a drum roll. It's gotta come out. Woo! And it's come out. Yeah, sunbound. Sunbound.
Writing backwards is tricky. We are learning new skills.
It's a picture of my brother and I when we were young, on our first years of camp. And at this, I think the campfire, I used to be attached to him, like very clingy and stuff. And it's baby me, my brother. It's like everyone's like family here, growing up with each other. You meet a lot of people, a lot of families.
The story about this picture is, so fishing with Sam. Sam is a good friend of mine, and he loves fishing. So I had the woman who does all of this for us run out for me, and then I'm calling up for him.
Pegmatites are, I'm trying to think. There's like one type of rock which is just a mixture of conglomerate, there we go, which is like a mixture of different types of sized pebbles that are fused together.
Is Sam your boyfriend?
Yeah. Yes, he is. What I like about Sam is how understanding he is. He tries to understand. That's all I've ever looked for in anyone, is someone who wants to understand, someone who wants to know why you do what you do. Hi, kiddo.
Yep.
How you doing?
Yep.
You doing okay?
Yeah.
You look kind of orange.
If talking about the person of your choice, is there anything like what is kind of see as
someone that has strength and how can I say? Somebody that will have strength to go with me with the path of XP, you know? Somebody that would be supportive no matter the surgeries, no matter the biopsies I go through, you know? Somebody that will like keep me a positive mindset, you know? But personality is top one.
So someone who would understand?
Yeah, somebody who would understand.
Where are you going, Daddy?
Going to the grocery store. So it's cloudy outside, but for the purposes of the video, I'll put on my sun gear. This is what I would normally have to wear when I go outside when it's not cloudy, when it's sunny. One of the places I lived in a city, and I would get shouted at all the time. I think a lot of people in town recognize me by sight, but they don't like know my name. It's kind of awkward to just like stop in and say, "Hey, I'm Jason, and this is why I wear this gear," you know? I have been, bothered by, pulled over by police and stopped by police, and stopped by complete strangers. People have taken pictures of me and, laughed about it. I'm not really sure why, but I know I look kind of weird, but it always kind of confused me. Like, I don't know, if I saw someone walking down the street like that, I'd like try to keep my distance. Like, I don't know who this guy is, why he's dressed like this, just try to keep my distance. But so for some reason, people would like, get in your face about it. I don't understand why. The condition I have is known as erythropoietic protoporphyria. The acronym is EPP. I was 4 years old when I first remember having first attack from the sun, and I was diagnosed when I was 11. The pain is indescribable. It feels like a really, really bad chemical burn, but it goes through your skin, into your muscle, all the way down to the bone, and there's no relief. Painkillers don't work, and it lasts for 5 days to a week. Pretty debilitating.
When I was dating Jason, it was definitely, It was a different experience because we were doing things at night. But I mean, Jason's a person who, he thinks outside of the box really easily. And so I never felt like I was missing anything. I mean, I mean, just look at that. He's so happy, you know? He didn't play victim to the world. He didn't play like that he couldn't do anything.
Is there any cure from that?
No, there's no cure. It's a genetic disorder.
We decided we would have children, obviously, because we have 2 of them. And actually, neither one of them have EPP. And we genetically tested them for that. But if they did have EPP, we would not have regretted it either, because we both know they can have a fulfilling life with EPP. You know, Jason's an electrician. He's the provider of the family. He works full-time.
Right now I work as an in-house maintenance for a manufacturing plant. I work during the night shift. And that way I don't have to be in the sun. If something goes wrong outside the plant, I can, go up in the darkness and not have to worry about having an EPP attack. On cloudy days I can still get sick. But it's like so like on a sunny day I got like 3 minutes typically. And on a cloudy day, I get anywhere from an hour to 2 or 3 hours.
Nice. This is our reality, you know? Family time is rain time. You know, some people look to the weather for like, what's the weather gonna be like? Can we go on a picnic? Can we go on to the beach? You know, I guess we're gonna stay home and watch a movie. Ours is reversed, you know? Ours is like, yes, it's raining! And we go out and play out in the rain, puddles, and we definitely had picnics in the rain. Dad, we're gonna catch a daddy. Are you scared? I'm not scared. There he is! Go, 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 go!
You got me.
All right, Daddy. Drag him. Here. The rain is the best. If it's rainy, the clouds are usually the darkest.
Okay.
Normally, windows are to use for light, to bring light into a house. And often they'll build it so then the most windows are in the direction of sunlight. We didn't, of course, want the sunlight in our house, but we don't want to necessarily live in the dark. So we have these windows here, the orange-looking ones, and that's an amber tint. It's a film that they can put on the window that they typically use for medical technology.
Remember, we're at Camp Sundown. It's for people with XP.
Mostly, primarily, right?
Yep. Those people get harmed by ultraviolet light or UV light. Then my condition is EPP, and people with EPP are sensitive to blue light. So when I'm in the sun outside, I can't be in the sunlight because it's got that blue light, but on the inside, I can put my hand right up to the window and not have to worry about it because all the light that harms me is blocked.
As you know, light contains a rainbow of colors, and it contains colors that you can't see, like ultraviolet light. These are different energies of light, and so green has more energy than red, blue has more energy than green, and ultraviolet has more energy than blue. We can't see the ultraviolet light. Bumblebees can, but we can't. And it has the highest energy. And within ultraviolet, there's a range of energies as well. And most of this is blocked by the ozone layer, but some of it gets through.
My grandfather had a sun allergy since childhood. We don't know what exactly he had. And Jake started having weird reactions his very first summer when he was 10 months old. And we couldn't really figure out what it was. And by the time that he was about 3 years old, we started watching because of my grandfather's sun allergy, because we noticed it was seasonal. So he would break out as soon as, sort of spring started, and it would end close to the beginning of winter. And every year it kind of just got a little bit stronger and a little bit more intense, and when it became a little more intense, it was easier to pinpoint what it was.
All I really know is that he has a sun allergy and he reacts to UVB, right?
The sun has different types of rays. So UVA is the light that you see, right? So it's always there during the daytime. UVB is what gives you heat. That's the rays that you can feel from the sun. So when you go out in the summer and you can feel the sun beating on your skin, right? Yeah, that's UVB. So when you go outside in the winter, do you feel that heat beating on your skin when you're outside?
No, I just feel ice needles pointing on my skin.
What? Okay.
What are you doing, girls? Where are you going? What?
Well, we're gonna set up for outdoor games, so they go outside at night, and all these games glow in the dark.
You have a privilege of being outside during the day.
Yes.
I guess we don't often see it as a privilege.
Well, it's not very easy to see as a privilege because it feels like everyone can go outside, and then you discover this, and you're like, oh, and you kind of appreciate it a bit more when you go outside, actually.
This is a window that's tinted with dark tint to block out the UV rays. For me, it's not the UV rays, it's the visible light, so you have different diseases are affected by different wavelengths of light, but this is definitely adequate for, you got double tints on both sides of the pane coming through.
One of the things that we discuss is the use of a UV meter. This is a UV meter. And the way that the UV meter works is that there is a photoelectric cell here at the top of the meter, and all you do is shine that photoelectric cell at a light source, for example, the sunlight coming through this window. As you can see, the UV meter is registering numbers, and for many XP patients, this level of UV is too much and will be causing damage. And if we step into the full sun, you'll see that the light meter is now registering in the thousands. This amount of UV is enough to cause significant amounts of damage to people with XP for even a short amount of time being outside in this amount of
like a few minutes?
UV. No, more like a few seconds.
1,
2,
3, 4.
Me.
How old are you? 4.
XP is a genetic disease. In the United States and in Europe, XP is about 1 in a million. In other parts of the world, it's much more common. For instance, in Japan, it's 1 in 20,000. And we did some studies that show most of the patients with XP in Japan have the same mutation, have the same break in the DNA, and we call that a founder mutation. And we were able to do studies of the DNA and show that this founder mutation arose 100 generations ago in Japan, which is approximately 2,000 years ago. So that mutation has been around for that very many years.
All right, perfect example. Olivia, I started at like Olivia, but a little older, like 7. I met her last year. She thought she was the only one with XP. But when she saw me or Katie, she, little by little, she opened up, Now you see her running around, talking to people, playing, because she knows that she's not alone in the world with XP.
1, 2, 3.
We're at the Churchtown Fire Company in Churchtown, New York, and the Churchtown Fire Company and the Taconic Fire Companies together are putting on games for our kids. So they allow them to do water games, and they're dressed up in the firemen's outfits so they get to feel what it's like to be a fireman holding a hose. And they shoot against each other with water. And then they're gonna have some hot dogs and some s'mores, and then we're gonna head back and play some games at home.
Did you like it? Did you have fun? Yeah. Oh, dude, your marshmallow's gonna fall off.
I dropped one. Let's brother.
Hey, you got a great one.
There's a lot of people out there with worser cases than us, you know, worser case than XP, worser case than EPP. You just gotta have a positive mindset. You cannot let, you know, it's hard. Yes, I've been depressed before with XP when I was little, because nobody wants to be stuck in your house or in your room in the summertime. And I know that feeling, and I know how a lot of people go through with depression or anxiety, because it's not a good case. You just have to have a good support system at home or somebody to talk to. That's what camp is about, you know. We make you feel like part of a family, and you just don't want to go home afterwards. Like, you want to stay forever, you know.
Chloe, do you not have socks? You have socks. I thought I needed socks. Oops. You don't have socks, huh? Maybe I know what they need.
Bye, Draco.
Hopefully next year.